Hey y'all, it's Dorothy from PrepInYourStep.com, and I got such a great response on my last video that I thought it would be fun to film another video for y'all. So this is a Q&A, I guess, video with questions that I asked on Instagram. I think it was last week. So I figured that this is a fun way for y'all to get to know me a little bit better, ask me some more personal questions than what I may ask or have answered on the blog in the past. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to that Instagram post. I'm hoping to get to all of the questions, but we'll see. I almost filmed this in my pajamas because I was like, these are real answers. It's very much so me, but I changed into a sweater for y'all, kept on the slippers, have a cup of coffee. So hopefully y'all are equally as comfortable while you're watching this. So the first question, let's see, I hope I screenshotted all of them. I think I did. First question is, how did you get started blogging? So I've answered this probably a long time ago. So I have been blogging over on my blog for 7 years now, which is crazy. So I started my junior year of high school. I was really burnt out with some of the things that I was doing. I ran cross country in the fall and then played soccer pretty much all spring until the school year ended. And then when I had free time and I wasn't at practice, all I did was homework and study. So I felt like I needed a creative outlet, and it was right before Pinterest started. And in my head, I kind of had been creating a Pinterest idea in a binder, and it was just all of these things that I'd seen in magazines and online that I was really interested by. And I've always kind of had a creative side of me, even though I do, actually I don't know what side of the brain I use more, but I knew that I wanted to do something that allowed me to have an outlet. And had Pinterest started at that time, I may not have ever created a blog. So I'm glad that it started later and I still love Pinterest, but I decided to start a blog because I needed something else to do that was totally mine. And I was really embarrassed at the beginning to have that. I didn't want anyone to know, and now I'm much more open about it. But it was really just because I was stressed and wanted something else. Okay, I got a bunch of questions about teaching. If you don't know, I am a 4th grade teacher. I'm also a grad student and I also have a blog, so doing lots of things. But this question says, favorite part about teaching. I need to just sit down and film a whole video about teaching and just tell y'all everything. But I think my favorite part about teaching, the kids are really great. I definitely have some of those that are challenging, but when they start to open up to you, that's really fun when you can be silly with them. But if I'm actually talking about just like the teaching aspect, I really like planning content, which is so lame. I hated that in college, and now that I'm actually a teacher, when I can sit down and just have time to plan out an entire unit, and I plan science and make all the resources, I really enjoy that. So definitely better than grading and conferencing and being evaluated and all those things. But this person also asked, ways to grow your blog and Instagram. That's a great question. I feel like having been a blogger for 7 years, and I've probably had an Instagram for my blog since my freshman year of college, and now I'm post-grad, there are definitely bloggers that do it better, which stinks because I've been doing it so consistently for so long. But I think that for me, I would rather have a huge following and be able to do that full time. That'd be awesome. But right now I just kind of take it day by day, and if it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, you know, that's okay. I'm still doing what I love. But with Instagram, especially with the change in algorithm, I have no idea, considering I've been sitting at 23,000 followers since this time over a year ago. But with blogging, I think that a lot of self-promotion, as crazy as that sounds, does wonders. So posting to Pinterest a number of times, posting on a Facebook page, which I'm so bad about keeping mine up, but kind of posting on different outlets is really helpful. I'm scared to do a poll on my Instagram about how many people just follow my blog, or not just follow my blog, but actually read my blog versus those that just follow along on Instagram, because I think that a lot of it would just be Instagram, which stinks since my blog is my main thing. But just swiping up and having people have that accessibility to your posts is going to be helpful as well. And then the next question was favorite spring trends. Right now I have to say pastels. I'm wearing a dark green, so I'm not living out that spring trend, but it's also rainy and gross here, so that may be the case. But definitely pastels. I've seen a lot of great light colors for spring, and I'm really excited to incorporate those into my wardrobe. Okay, the next question is really personal. It says, I was wondering what your thoughts on dating in your 20s are. We never get to hear about your love life on the blog. It's weird. I think that's my best answer. I don't really know what my thoughts are. I don't know. I mean, people don't really meet and date in the way that I feel like the movies portray, and maybe I'm just old-fashioned and would prefer that. It's a lot of just like texting and going to dinner, and I don't know. I mean, I've gone on dates and they've been really fun, but sometimes when I don't see them going anywhere, I'm too busy to kind of see a point with that, which may not be the best attitude. I'll let y'all know when I have exciting news about my love life on the blog, probably like a year after it happens, but it's just weird. In college, you're with people all the time that I feel like it's easier to get to know people in an avenue that isn't when you're going out and drinking and hanging out with friends. But we're also not at that age where people are introducing one another to different people, because I am just 23, so I'm in no rush, but I'm confused by dating in your 20s, so I think that's probably the best answer I have for that. The next question is, how did you pick Furman? I had a lot of Furman questions. I picked Furman because I went to a really small private high school and I graduated with 53 there, so I knew I wanted small. And once I toured the school, I was completely sold. If you've never seen Furman's Instagram or website or been to their campus, then you may not know how stunning it is. So I went on a tour and my mom finally had to tell me to stop telling her how much I loved it. But I also loved that the campus was small but still spread out, and I was going to be able to live on campus all 4 years. For whatever reason, that was something that just seemed so different to me, and I liked the idea of being completely centered in one place for 4 years, because I don't feel like I've had that other than, I guess, in high school and elementary school when you live with your parents. I thought that was really unique, and I just thought it was a good fit. So I'm really glad that I chose Furman. The next question was, what sorority were you in? I was a Kappa Delta at Furman, obviously. I was president and vice president of public relations. That is my Greek affiliation. Did you decide what college you were going to? I kind of answered that. Any college advice? Enjoy it. Everyone says that college is the best 4 years of your life, and I think that having that mindset while you're there can be hard. But after the fact, and I feel like I had a very different college experience than people because I was constantly pushing myself to do more and more just so that I could open myself up to better opportunities in the future. So I didn't always go out and do all of those college social things. I definitely had my fair share, I won't lie there, but I think now that I have graduated and the real world is what it is and all my friends are spread out, that I definitely have a better perspective on why people say that. What's your favorite inexpensive clothing brands? I don't know if I have brands per se, but I love H&M. If you haven't ever shopped H&M or you've been to a store and you've been really overwhelmed, their website is really great. I find a lot of great basic pieces there, and also sometimes some more trendy pieces. So I think H&M, Target has had really great stuff lately, but specific brands, I'm not sure. Old Navy is also great. If I think of others, I'll leave them down below. What advice would you give on starting a blog? Just start it. Don't be afraid to do something different, because I know that that's what I was scared of at the beginning. So afraid someone was going to find it, and then in high school people were just going to talk about it and it was going to be silly. Because that really wasn't the case. Now that people know about it, granted it is 7 years later, they think it's really cool. They're confused as to why I didn't talk about it at the time. But just start it and embrace it and enjoy it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If you don't like it, then you don't have to keep it up. There's no pressure. What's your go-to coffee order? It depends, I guess, on if it's winter or summer. I feel like most consistently throughout the year, if I'm going to Starbucks and ordering coffee, it is a iced coffee with vanilla and cream. It's my go-to. It's also super cheap. So if you're looking for something that's like $2, that's it. The next question, this person, young women our age experience a lot of change in a short amount of time, like big changes, graduating school, moving, getting a job. How stressful were these changes for you? Did these changes make you excited or anxious? I feel like I'm still very much so in that changing time because I don't know what I'm doing with my life right now. But I think that it helped that I had friends where I was. So I'm still in Greenville, which is where I went to college. And because I'm getting my master's, a lot of my friends are still here doing the same. So I think that having that base of friends made it a lot easier. Although if I move somewhere else, I really won't know how to make friends on my own. It'll have been since freshman year of college for that to have really been the case. But I definitely get anxious. They're exciting in some ways, but I remember when and I don't know if I've told you all that or this, but when I was moving into my apartment, I tried to do a lot of it before graduation, even though my family offered to help over graduation weekend. So I really didn't let them touch any boxes. I didn't want their help. I've always been kind of like, I'll do it, I won't ask for help. But this was more so because when I brought them to this apartment, they were finally saying, like, your apartment, you live here, it's yours. And they weren't doing it on purpose, but it stressed me out. I started crying in my apartment, had no toilet paper, no nothing, because I hadn't really moved in. I was like, well, here I am crying, and we're about to go to lunch. We went to Publix to get some basics for our apartment, and I started crying in Publix because I think it hit me that, like, oh, I don't live at home anymore. So I definitely still get those kind of nerves, but now it's been more exciting because I feel more settled. Someone asked, what's the most challenging part about teaching? Oh gosh. Right now for me, it's really my class dynamic. I mentioned that my class can be kind of tricky, but that's really hard. And then also because I'm still a grad student, balancing the fact that teaching is my job. Being a student is also kind of my job, but also blogging is something that I've made a job over time. It's really hard with the amount of time you have in a day. I used to be really bad about sleeping. I would get 4 hours a night and say, you know, I got my core 4, I'm fine. Unfortunately, I haven't done that with teaching, but I think that figuring out what's worth putting your time into has been challenging. I think I've done a good job when I'm at school, especially. I know that those like 30 minutes you actually get for your planning time are so valuable. Go to the bathroom, reheat your cup of coffee because you're never gonna finish it when the kids are coming in the room, and just knock out whatever you can in a short amount of time. That's been huge for me. And then this also says, I'm an education major and I'm student teaching next semester. Any advice? Use the weekends to get ahead, but don't use the entire weekend. My roommate Sophia and I, at the beginning of our student teaching, would work all weekend and would go into the work week exhausted because we hadn't given ourselves that break that we needed. So I think that making sure that you're giving yourself those breaks is going to be really valuable to make you a stronger teacher during the week. Next question is, which do you prefer, peanut butter or almond butter? I'm a peanut butter girl, hands down. It says, I'm interested to know what advice you have for balancing life outside of the classroom. Kind of goes along with, not the peanut butter question, but the one before that. And I think knowing that you're never going to feel fully caught up, which for me as a planner was so overwhelming at the beginning, and I think that's why I worked so much on the weekends. But telling yourself that's okay and that you still need to be a college student, because this girl was talking about student teaching, and that you still need to go out with friends and do things that you enjoy, because otherwise you're going to be so exhausted just mentally when you come back into the week that all of that planning and working ahead that you did over the weekend isn't really going to have anything to show, because not personality wise but personally in your life you're going to be really drained. So definitely know when to step back. I know that the balance is so hard, and that's something that I continually asked other teachers what they were doing, and no one has a square answer for you. But if your friends are going out to dinner and you're deciding between, am I going to go to dinner or am I going to stay in and grade papers that the students aren't going to get until Thursday, go to dinner. The Furman question was, what was one thing that you really liked and one thing that you didn't like? So liked, I love the campus, I love that the classes were small, I love that I could be really involved with what I chose to do, love that I could live on campus. That love list is so long. The one thing that I didn't like, and I think that a lot of people get kind of caught up in, we call it the Furman Bubble, and that wasn't the problem that I had. It was more so that everyone felt like they were doing everything and they were doing everything perfectly. The people that were involved in all of the different organizations that had like a sense of prestige on campus. They were the ones getting all of the awards. They were the ones doing everything, and it felt like they were doing everything flawlessly. And I think that that's kind of a hard pressure to put on yourself, and that Furman students were typically those students in high school that were winning awards, that were doing everything and doing everything well. But then when you get in that college environment, it becomes kind of competitive. That was something that kind of stressed me out and I didn't really love. But once I started to tell myself that, no, it's silly for me to be thinking about that, then it got a lot better. Last question I'm going to answer is about my living room. Once we kind of finish our living room, I'd be happy to share it with y'all. Right now, it's kind of a mess. We have furniture and a rug and a TV and all of this, but when you live with 2 other girls, it's a smorgasbord. So maybe I'll make that a priority this semester to finish it so that I can show it to any of you who may be moving into your first apartment soon or want some inspiration, because right now I don't feel like you'd get a lot from it, but I'd be happy to share it with y'all later on. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have other questions, leave them below and I'll try to answer them. I'd love to do these more often because I do feel like you get to know a little bit more about me, and that's really fun. So if you are missing me over here, definitely check out the blog and my Instagram so that you can stay up to date with all the things that are going on in my life. And I'd love for y'all to choose a question and answer it below as well so I can get to know you a little bit better. So I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.